All right, everybody, welcome back. This is Randy White. We got a special guest today, Belfry coach Brent Perry. For everybody who don't know, Coach Perry just wrapped up his second year at Belfry. We kind of want to have Coach on because he's a young coach, really exciting career ahead of him. He had a great season, I thought. You can see the growth from year one to year two.
Yeah.
Coach, just kind of just talk about your experience so far these 2 years at Belfry before we really get into things, and just how you feeling right now. I mean, you got to be very pleased with the way your program is right
Sure.
now and
Yep.
the direction it's going, I
Yeah, for
guess.
sure. Like this in the 2 years, that's blew by pretty quick. But like the 2 years I've been here, like this place has become home to me. And the strides our program has taken the last 2 years, like it shows on and off the court, like in some of our kids and the growth that we've came. Like obviously, like when I first, got here and took the job here, like I knew it wasn't gonna be like I knew it was gonna be a process.
Mhm.
And the 2 years, the jump we've come in 2 years has been tremendous. Like our school in general, my administration, my principal, all everybody involved, our families. It's just a really good atmosphere to be around, really good people to be around. And I owe like so much to so many people in the 2 years I've been here, and especially my staff for one. Like I'm sure we'll talk about them later, but it's it takes a village. It takes a village, especially to you kinda change the trajectory of a program, and that's kinda what we were doing when we first got here, and like I said, I knew it wasn't gonna be an overnight process, and,
Mhm.
we still got strides to go and strides to make and goals we wanna achieve, but, where we've come in the last 2 years is, something to be proud of, and, I mention that to our kids every single day, and, we just gotta keep building. We just gotta keep building, but like I said, this place in just the 2 years I've been here has become home to me, and, there's so many good people here, who like all around the area, and coaching basketball here is an honor. I think I still, when I took the job, like I think I said in my post, like some of the best basketball in the state comes from the mountains, and that's still true to this day. And I live it every single day, and it's a blessing. And I have fun doing it, and here we are.
Yeah, well, one of the reasons we kinda wanted to let you have get on here today because you're not really originally from Belfry area, we're from the Pike County area. So just tell people your background, where you started out at, where you cut your teeth at playing. Now I know you used to play back in the
Yeah.
day, and then how you got your coaching start, and then I guess after that, how you found your way to Belfry, and,
Yeah.
why that job appealed to you, I guess.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Knox County. I'm a graduate of Barberville High School, a very small school, all A school, in Barberville. So originally from there, graduated from there, played there. Was fortunate enough to receive a scholarship to play basketball at the next level at the University of the Cumberlands for 2 years. 2 years cut short due to injury. I had bad ankles. Still to this day, I walk around, I crack, I pop everywhere. But um, that's beside this point because I always knew I wanted to coach. So soon as I, got done with college, started coaching at a very young age. I think I was 20, 22 years old. I first started coaching. Started my career coaching at Lincoln High School under who coached me, legendary coach Dinky Phipps, Hall of Famer. Was with him a couple years, then was fortunate enough to join a really good staff at Knox Central High School. We was part of a region championship team there. Got to go to the state tournament. Really cool experience. Really, like I tell people still, like I tell my kids, like you don't really know like what being in, playing in, and coaching in a state tournament means until you're there, and it's an experience that I can't put into words. Really, it was an honor to be a part of that staff and be a part of that team. And I think that was 2021. I think that year was, and after that I joined Coach Jason Mays' staff, left the area, joined Coach Jason Mays' staff at Montgomery County High School, which was, a big step for me because I was kind of leaving the area, but I knew in order for me to reach my goals and dreams, like, I kind of needed to branch out a little bit. So, um, it was funny because we had actually, when I was with Knox Central and we played in a state tournament, that's where I met Coach Mays because we played Ashland and he was
Yeah.
the head coach of Ashland then. So met him there, and we formed a relationship there, and he got the job at Montgomery County, so he asked me to be on staff there. So that was a leap for me, a leap of faith that I took, and um, that was an incredible year. I learned so much under him, and I've learned so much. I owe a lot to all the coaches I was able to coach under, but especially him. Like he taught me how to run a program the way that I had originally imagined it when I got a head job. So being under him for a year was truly special. And then at the end of that year, Belfry had kind of come an option and into play, and there was a lot of factors that, I considered because I was still young. I was still learning. I'm still learning to this day, but um, there was a lot of factors that come into it. But like I said, like I think that some of the best basketball, high school basketball in the states played in the mountains, and that was appealing to me. And you look at the history of the Belfry High School in general, and you can tie it back to football or basketball or whatever, but um, it's a place that wins. It's a place that you go to win championships, and there's history there. And when looking at the job and weighing options and factors that play into it, like that was, I mean, it's a place that there's a culture. There's a culture of winning, and I think that's important when you're looking at jobs, like especially for young coaches. Like you want to go somewhere that has a foundation for winning, has good people around it, has good administration, and you weigh those options. And just looking at the Belfry job from the outside in at that point, like it all made sense, for especially for me being young. And I took a leap of faith and come here, and here I am. So
Yeah, and I'm sure, most of the time when people from around the state, they hear Belfry, they don't think basketball, they think
yeah,
football first, and, rightfully
yeah, so
so.
yeah,
Coach Haywood did all that to but, but like you said, Belfry's got a tradition of winning. They win at just about everything they do.
yeah,
Just kinda talk about that, that appeal and going into a place that a lot of people still would say is a football
yeah.
school. Trying to, build that up and get it on the same level. As a coach, that's gotta be a really good appeal because there's athletes in that school and
For sure.
there's talent there.
Yeah.
So just kinda talk about that appeal.
Yeah, and then like you said, granted so, I mean, they won 8 state championships, like, I mean, they're in the history books forever, and, you owe a lot of that to Coach Haywood, and I was able to spend, like, some days just with Coach Haywood, before his passing, just sitting down talking, like, just talking winning culture, not talking football, not talking basketball, just talking kids, talking, what goes into winning, like, what values are there, like, what are you trying to preach every single day that ties into winning. And we were able to, have, not many, but a few days where we were just able to sit down and just talk. And, you learn a lot from those conversations. And, when I first got here, the basketball program wasn't, where it really needed to be and in the shape that it needed to be in. And, I wasn't scared of a challenge because I knew it was going to be a challenge. And, if you have a winning culture around you and winning people that, you know, have brought that within the school, then, you're due to have success at some point if you work hard. And we work hard. I work hard. My staff works hard. Our players work extremely hard, and our parents work hard because being a parent in today's time is hard. So, like I said, it takes a village, and I'm thankful to have good people around me, and we're still continuing to build, and that's what we're gonna do.
Yeah, in that first year, I think, you had a lot of talent, you had
Yeah,
some ups and downs. I think at the end of that season, you were playing really, really well.
yeah,
But in the season, everybody was playing pretty well there, Just talk about what you learned, at the end of the season, how you have to compete in to win a district because you're one, you had some talent, you probably had a shot to win one. Didn't fall your way though. I
yeah,
mean, because Phelps and Pike Central had good teams in that 60th.
mm,
Didn't fall your way, but year 2, you come back and you really look like you learned a lot about not just the district, but the region in general, the style of play. I think you won over 20 games. You
yeah,
were 15th road junior coach of the year. I mean, just talk about that by the other coaches. That's a big honor.
yeah.
Just talk about that leap in that 2nd year.
Yeah, and I tell people this all the time, like, our region is full of really good players for one, and extremely good coaches. Like, the coaches in our region do a phenomenal job. Like, from top to bottom, our region is full of great coaches. And, I don't I appreciate everybody that voted for me, but, like, there's plenty of good coaches that, they coulda got the award last year. And, I brag on our region all the time, and I think it's underrated in the state because there's good players here, there's good coaches here. And for for me, it's just, looking from the outside in, like, how I approach each day, whether it's now and more like I told you before we got on the show, like, we're not even really doing a lot of basketball stuff right now. We're, focusing on the weight room, getting stronger, like approaching each day and really like, how can we get better today? Like, what can we do today to make ourselves better for tomorrow?
Mhm.
And that's kind of our focus right now. And going from year one, obviously we had our ups and downs. Any good team that will face adversity at some point throughout the year. And we've came a long way, especially in our program, on how we battle that, me included. So you learn a lot each year. And I'm going into year 3, coming on year 3. And the day I stop learning and, from other coaches or from colleagues or whoever the case may be, it's probably the day I need to step away. So I'm learning each day and, learning each year, especially, and, just trying to approach, like I said, each day to try to, what can I get out of the day to make myself better. So, um, that's kind of where my mindset is right now.
Yeah, and I always tell people who, they talk about mountain basketball, talk about 15th, it seems like it's more up and down, it's
Yeah.
more press style, there's a mix. There's always a mix, but a lot of people like to get up and down. 14th, it seems like sometimes is a little slower.
Yeah.
It's a different style, it's more possession.
Yeah.
13th's a little different than the 14th. It's more of a mix of both, I would imagine. Just kind of talk about, coming into this and trying to adapt what you knew to this style because everybody's different. You
Yeah.
have to find your own way, I guess,
Right.
some but with people are getting up and down, you've gotta adjust to that if you're not used to it. Did it take you a while to adjust to this style of play up here?
I mean, not really. I mean, me being from the 13th and then being in the 15th for a year and then now being or being in the 10th for a year and then now being here in the 15th,
Mm,
like you see different styles. Some coaches like have their style that they stick to. I'm not necessarily like that. Like I watched a ton of film
mm.
and I really like dial into each player I have and I try to adapt a style that best fits my players. So like some coaches like, and it's no knock on other coaches. Everybody has their own style, but some coaches tend to like, this is my style. This is how I'm going to play. I'm not going to change for anybody. We're going to do this, and I'm not necessarily like that. I watch a lot of film, and I try to dial in on how can I put my players best in position to succeed. Sometimes for us that means playing fast. Sometimes for us it don't. But we try to be able to put ourselves in position to where we can play. We don't have to play a certain way to, try to win games. Like we can adapt to like what best fits us for this opponent or this game. So, but that comes with, a lot of time and a lot of work and a lot of film and a lot of headaches and,
Yeah.
that all ties into it. But, that's how I am and that's how I always, plan to be. And as long as I can put my players and staff in a position, to be successful, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, you talked about a lot of the coaching, here. You gave a lot of the coaches in the region a lot of credit. You see guys like Al Hall, who's got what 800 and some
Yeah.
wins. He's one of the all-time leaders. You got a guy like powerful like Elisha. You got Johnson Sid. You go down through the line. All these coaches have had success. How big of a challenge, and does that just fire you up night to night knowing, "Hey, I wanna go against somebody who knows what they're doing. It's gonna make me better in the end," but how motivating is that to, go against these guys night in, night out? Because there's no nights
Yeah.
off in this region.
No, I mean, it's extremely motivating. You look at some of their resumes, especially Coach Coach Holland in our
Yeah.
district. So you play him 4 times a year and in a district tournament. That's a legend, Hall of Famer. So you want to. I look at my career like going into year 3, and like I don't really compare myself to anybody, but like going against those guys does nothing but make me better. And if my resume can look half of what some of theirs looks like, Coach Holland, Coach McKenzie, Coach Justice, then I must be. I hope I must be doing something right if I can get in the name in the mix with those guys because those guys have won a lot of ball games and their program speaks for themselves. The culture they build, winning cultures. They win everywhere they go. Coach Al Holland, been multiple places. He's won everywhere he went. So you look at the resumes of those guys, and it does nothing but make me motivated, make me hungry to to be in that conversation. Some of the coaches in our region, like I said, like our coaches, our region has some of the best coaches in the state, and I firmly believe that. And it's an honor to go against them, and you try to learn what you can, from them, and go from there.
Yeah, switching gears a little bit, just kind of talk about some of your guys. It seems like you'll have quite a few guys back next year. Seems like you did a lot to help these guys develop their talent.
Yeah.
How do you look at like talent development? Because everybody's different. Sometimes they want them to work within the team aspect. Sometimes they put them through individual drills.
Yeah.
What's your philosophy on that? And because it's probably a mix of both for most coaches. But what's your philosophy on player
Yeah.
development? Because it's so key nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's crucial. Within our program, like usually, like throughout the year, we take a section of practice. That's for individuals. Like it's for individual development. Sometimes it may be small, could be 10 minutes of practice. Sometimes it may be an hour. Sometimes it may be 30 minutes. But we really value individual development. And especially right now, going into the summer. People look at summer basketball like what it is. Like obviously, you want to win every game you can, but like it's more of a development stage. Like for us within our program is like how individually can you get better this summer? Like, what did you learn from this past season that you need to work on? Like, okay, maybe you weren't a consistent 3-point shooter this weekend. All right, let's get as many shots up we can this summer as possible. Let's develop that. So, um, right now, like our main focus is getting stronger in the weight room. Changing our bodies, like putting our body in the best position to be, in as shape as possible when the time comes, and individual development, on the court. So we take a lot of pride in that, and for some of our guys, like I mean, I can't say enough about them. Like, honestly, like we got some guys within our program that works their tails off every single day, whether it's a weight room workout, whether it's on a court workout, whether it's a team function. Like we got guys that's within our program that are really dialed in, to being the best version of themselves. And that states, back 2 years ago, just developing that culture, developing a winning culture, developing how can I put myself in position to be successful? What can I do better to make my teammates better? So, but like tie back to your question, like individually right now, like we're really focusing on like what did we take from this past season or even 2 seasons ago, or whatever the case may be, to really expanding our games in order to put ourselves in position, to succeed.
Yeah, and just kinda, give some of your guys some shine. I always tell people, to me, most good teams, whether it's true or not, all is not a broad state. This is kinda just what I always say. You gotta have good guards,
Yeah.
especially in this region. You gotta be able to take care of the ball. Just starting with your guards, just kinda talk about your 2 guards coming back, Carter Jude and, Brody Little. I mean,
Yeah.
you've gotta be so proud of those 2 guys, the work they put in. Seems like every night these guys, they just go to work, whether you need a basket, whether you need a steal or an assist. It seems like they're the type of players willing to do whatever it takes and lead the right way.
Yeah,
Just
for
kinda
sure.
talk about those guys.
Yeah, and then in the 2 years that I've been here, they have come, extremely far. Like, whether that be on the court or off the court, like, they have both become true leaders, on and off. They're the hardest workers in the room. Like, I'm biased, but I'm gonna sit here and say they're the best backcourt in the region because I firmly believe they are. Like any given night, they can be, and they have the right mindset and they approach things the right way. Like I said, whether that's a weight room, whether it's on a court, whether it's a team function, whether it's coaching, like they're extremely coachable. They take coaching well. They both want me to coach them hard, and they don't know how much I appreciate that, to be honest, because it's doing nothing but make them better. And I think both of them could be next level players, and if they really want to buy into that, and they have so far. So, but like just having them on the court is just, lucky for me. Like it makes my job easier. It makes our staff's job easier because it's like we got 2 coaches on the floor with those 2, and they play off each other and they piggyback off each other. And, I look for them to, keep expanding on their games, and they're going to have a bigger year next year than they had this past year. And, that's the goal for them. And, like I said, it's a blessing to coach both of them, and, having them both out there at the same time is, like I said, it just makes my job easier.
Yeah, just kinda talk about some of your forwards and your other guys coming
Yeah.
back. I mean, I told somebody last year, Bryce Hagee, he had some huge
Oh my
moments in
gosh.
critical situations
Yeah.
in Bo Williams. If there's a better shooter once he gets hot, I'd like to see him because the kid can line it up when he gets hot from 3. Just kinda talk about your other guys out there besides those 2 leaders that you started with. Just kinda just if somebody who hasn't seen your team play, what else can you expect from, the rest of your guys?
Yeah, I mean, like, if you look at our postseason games this past year, like, if I would've gave out an award for postseason player of the year, for us, it'd been Bryce Hagee, like, to be honest. Like, I mean, he was consistent all year. Like, we gave it out, award at our banquet the other day. Every year, it's most consistent, and he was most consistent for us this year. He works extremely hard, practice, and, towards the end of the year, like, he had a stretch of games where, like, he was really, really good for us. And, like, going into this summer, I was like, let's continue to build off that. So, he's gonna have a big year for us. Like you said, Bo Williams, like, any at some point, a college team's gonna get Bo Williams, and they're gonna get a really good player. Like he's super high IQ, shoots the ball at an extremely high clip. Really values his body, his nutrition. So he's gonna have a big summer and a big season coming up as well. Like we have 6 seniors this year on our team, so we're veteran heavy, which is a blessing for me and my staff. So with them, and we got Colton Young back, who's a bruiser, who's the strongest guy on our team probably by far. He just outworks everybody almost. I mean, he just works his tail off. Sometimes me and him have to butt heads because, sometimes I have to get him slow down a little bit, but, he works his tail off and, great attitude, great mindset to get better. Um, and like you said, Carter, Brody, Bo, Bryce, Colton, and then, Carson Blaylock being our 16th year. But like we got some young guys as well that maybe didn't play like a big role last year that's gonna have an extremely big role this year. We got Ashton Evans, who has, completely transformed his body almost. It's gonna be really big for us this year. He handles the ball well, shoots the ball well. We got Gabe Varney, Jay Spallins, Gabe Varney, gonna be quarterback of the football team. Um, Also, a really good basketball player, extremely hard worker. Like we got some pieces, for our team this year that like this group has a chance to be really special, if we, buy into, what we're still trying to build every single day. And that's a winning culture. But these guys love each other. They love being around each other. They're all extremely coachable. Like you said, you go through your ups and downs every year, but like with this group, like out of all the teams I've been a part of, like this group right here especially is extremely coachable. They're fun to coach. Um, and like I love being around them. I love how they approach, the game, the life in general. They're all great kids. They all come from great families. So, um, we're expecting, a lot out of some of our guys this year, and pressure is privilege, and that's what we say every day. And you got to keep approaching it the right way and put the work in this summer, and it'll lead to good things this year. So
Yeah, we talked a lot about your players now and stuff. Just kind of talk about your staff. I mean, I know you put a lot of trust in those guys, and those guys. You it seems like you have a good relationship. Everybody on that staff. Talk about some of your guys on the staff and how important it is to have trust in all those guys.
For sure, like I said, like I think one of the most important things you could do as a coach is surround yourself with good people and surround yourself that have the same objectives of you, and that's me, and that's not only winning, but that's also developing these guys to be the best young men they can be. And our staff does a tremendous job at that. Coach Aaron Rigdon, who's on our staff last year, just took the job at Bracken County, so extremely happy for him. Even though I'm gonna miss him,
Mm.
and I wish he wouldn't have, but I'm extremely happy for him, and I'm gonna be supporting the Polar Bears this year. But Coach Cameron Works coming back, phenomenal human being. Um, if one day if I'm not coaching, if I have kids and I'm not coaching my kid, like Coach Cameron Works to be one of the people that like I would want my kid to be coached by. Like he's extremely, you know, incredible human being. So, and then Coach Sean Hurley, who's one of my best friends. That like, I mean, the hours that he puts in, with me is just I can't even put into words like what it means for me, and especially and our program and our kids. And then Coach Logan Copley, who just doesn't people don't understand the amount of work that he puts in, for our basketball program and for our school in general. Like I said, we got a great staff, and it's full of great people, and it's making these kids better, and it's making me better, and it's making our city better. Like the staff I have is just in general, like I tell them all the time, like I think they're the best staff in the world in the state. So I'm incredibly thankful for those guys, and I can't put into words like what they mean to me. So they work extremely hard, and they put in a lot of hours that people don't really see. But I mean, those guys mean the world to me.
Yeah, we'll try to wrap up here. I got a couple more for you. I don't want to take too much of your time,
Okay.
but just kind of talk about your approach. I mean, it's summer ball. I think you said you're starting next week.
Yeah.
Everybody has a different approach to summer ball. Some coaches like to play 15, 20 games. Some coaches like to play 50, 60. They want to play every day if they can.
Yeah.
What's your approach to summer ball?
I'm not really in particular. Like I said, like we're playing on. I think I told you beforehand. Like we're playing a lot of games this summer. I think our guys need to play. I think they need to focus on, making their individual selves better. Like I don't really, I'm not standing here doing 10-page scouting reports. This summer. Like I want these guys to approach it the right way. I want them to have fun. I want them, obviously win every game that we have the opportunity to play. But I also want them to really just focus on getting better individually. Developing. Um, the chemistry we already have. Like I said, we have 6 seniors, but like some of the young guys that's going to have bigger roles this year, like getting them more reps, getting them more comfortable with some of the older guys, and like developing that chemistry. But like I said, like I value individuals a lot, especially in the summer. So being able to see growth in that area is key for me. So just making sure guys are in the gym, having fun, locking in. is really the attitude I kind of go into the summer with. So we are playing a lot, and hopefully we have a lot of success this summer. But like I said, I want these guys to have fun. I want them to enjoy their summer. I want them to be around each other, but I also really want them to like really dial in on their craft and become the best player they can be this summer heading into the season.
Yeah, and last thing for you, just kind of talk about throw wins losses out this upcoming season. We won't even mention wins losses. What expectations? What do you want to see out of this group? Whether it's just becoming tight knit, making memories, being the best they can, or is it just improving every day and being the best versions of themselves? Or is it seniors leading the young guys, getting
Yeah.
them ready? What do you want to see in this third season? And I'm not talking about wins or
Yeah.
losses. It's just about what do you wanna see out of your guys, as a collective, I
Yeah.
guess?
I think it's just like I mean, my answer to that's kind of probably simple, but like I think it's just, being the best version they can be of themselves. Like really, not only take basketball out of it, but like I want to see like this group really is get as close as they can be, and just help each other succeed, whether that's on or off the floor. And for our seniors, like I want to see them, whether if their aspirations is to play at the next level, then I want to do whatever I can to put them in position to get there. And for our young guys, like I want them to learn from this group. Like you don't have many like I don't know if I've been a part of, but like you don't have many teams usually ever with 6 seniors. Like that's a lot of seniors. So, or like I said, we're veteran heavy right now, and our young guys, are going to take advantage of that. But like for our older guys, it's just be the best version you can be. Like I think my calling in life, like especially for me, was to influence young men through the game of basketball, and I obviously that ties into the basketball aspect of it. But like I want to see these guys be the best young men they can be. Whether that's their aspiration is to go to college, like, I want them to go to college. I wanna do what I can to make sure they get to college, or if it's to join the workforce, like, how can I put you in position to, join the workforce and, get you out on your feet? So, and like I said, like, the kids that we got in our program right now make that easy. So, they're great kids. They approach every day the right way. They have good and bad days. So do I. I'm human, and they are too. So, but it's just really just putting them in position to be the best version of themselves.
Alright, I think that's all I got for you.
Mm.
For Corey Vance behind the scenes, I'm Randy White, Coach Brent Perry. Check us out on our socials, Unwired Appalachia. We'll be back next week. See you soon, and Belfry, for all you Belfry fans out there, this was a home run hire. Just listen to this, and you'll see why the future's bright for Belfry basketball. Thanks again, Coach Perry.
Appreciate you all.
We'll see you guys soon.